Right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone online who are joining us and tuning with us on our various social media network. We have an interesting topic today for IREB. That will be AI, which is a buzzword as of now in the IT community. AI for IREB. So to start with, I would like to introduce the IREB, the community, as well for Mauritius. So, yeah, let's get started. Perfect. I believe that everyone can see my screen now. So, the IREB community for Mauritius. To start with, the local ambassadors that we have for our little community in Mauritius. My name is 𝗥𝗲𝗾𝗂𝗵𝗂𝗺. I'm the founder and the president of MSTQB, which is the local community for Mauritius, representing IREB. I'm the CEO of a few companies over here, GSL and 𝗤𝗃𝗏. I'm a software test professional specialized in non-functional testing. I have around 15 years of experience in the quality industry. I have experience on manual testing, automation performance testing. I write syllabuses, exam. I also review these content for various schemes. I'm the local ambassador for IREB for Mauritius. I'm a software quality consultant, coach, conference speaker, and a trainer. That's a bit about me. We have also another local ambassador, 𝗤𝗏𝗧. I'll hand over to you, 𝗤𝗏𝗧.
Thank you, 𝗥𝗏𝗧. Hello, everyone. Glad to see you here. So a little bit about me. I'm 𝗤𝗏𝗧. I'm the secretary of MSTQB. I'm also a test manager at 𝗥𝗲𝗾𝗂𝗏𝗺. I've been in the software quality industry for 19 years. I've experience in business analysis, manual testing, and also automated testing. And I'm also the local community ambassador in Mauritius. A little bit about MSTQB then. Those joining us. So MSTQB was founded in 2019. So it's been a while that we are on the market, and we are the local representatives of IREB in Mauritius. We have about 70 plus IT companies who partner with us to take exams and to also get consultancy on software quality. We collaborate with local universities. We have 5 plus universities we collaborate with. The goal here is to really make people, students, aware about software testing, software quality, because this is not something that's really very well spread in the syllabuses. And we are involved in certifying professionals in Mauritius. We keep having more and more certified professionals in Mauritius. That's a bit about MSTQB and the local community in Mauritius. I hand over to you, 𝗥𝗏𝗧.
Yes, thank you, 𝗤𝗏𝗧. So our mission as MSTQB, we are a non-profit association. So our mission is really to build and nurture the software quality community of Mauritius. When we talk about software quality, it starts with requirement engineering, with software testing, with up to the production of up to the software goes to the production environment. So our mission is really to build that community and to nurture that. We are also responsible for opening quite some certifications for Mauritian population, globally recognized one. Those were not available to our local market before MSTQB. So we are the entity that are negotiating or trying to be the bridge between those boards, those associations, and Mauritius. We also ensure the affordability of the certification scheme for our professionals. We negotiate quite often about the prices, the exam prices, and so on. So these exams are now available through our website, which is mstqb.com. Also, we accredit training providers. One of our tasks is to make sure that the training that you are getting through our training providers of high quality, because we are talking about software quality. So the training as well need to be of quality. So it's our task as well to make sure that our training providers follow a certain rule, a certain way of delivering the training, and so on, so that we ensure that the professionals who are getting certified are getting the best out of our training providers. And part of our mission is also to organize events for the community, for knowledge sharing, for networking. Most of these events are free. So yeah, that's basically our mission here in Mauritius. So when we talk about requirement engineering, so IREB stands for International Requirement Engineering Board. When we talk about software quality, it starts with a pipeline. So it's a quality pipeline. We talk about first getting the right understanding of what we need to develop. That's requirement engineering. And there is a lot of techniques involved in those requirement engineering tasks. Then plugged with the requirement engineering is the software development, the project management, and also software testing. So quality is really a pipeline, and it starts with having the right requirement from the start. So that's a bit of IREB. I will leave the detailed explanation to our experts who are with us today to talk in detail about IREB and also how AI is helping requirement engineering in the current industry. Some upcoming events. I think it's a good opportunity as well to invite every one of you who's tuning with us online, and also to share some upcoming events from our institution. The MSTQB is organizing workshops from 6 to 8 of April. That would be at Polytechnic Mauritius at 𝗏𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗂. And also we'll have a TestCon, the testing conference in Mauritius, the 5th edition, 9th to 10th of April at 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗂𝗏. So the TestCon is open for students, for professionals, so feel free to connect with us, because information about registration for those events will be available on our social media, social network pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. So please make sure that you connect with us to stay tuned on the upcoming event. These are the contact details. You can reach out to us on info@mstqb.com as well. That's a bit about our community. So I'll hand over to you, Stan, to proceed with our core discussion about AI in requirement engineering.
Great, thank you, Loveless. Thank you to the community joining us today for this great session. And I would like to also give a hands up on these parts for the community Mauritius, and also having some introduction of our AI4RE Micro-Credential before we start with the super interesting part, where some guests of our special interest group on artificial intelligence and requirements engineering, who have been created and developed the new study guide and the AI4RE product, are here in the session with Michael, Franz, and Simon. So they are part of the special interest group. So I'm happy having them here. Maybe let's start. So as Loveless already mentioned, my name is Stan Bune. I'm Managing Director of IREB, the International Requirements Engineering Board, and I'm happy of being here today. So maybe one of the first topics I would like to talk today is if you are interested in these kind of events, if you're interested in whatever meetups that is happening in Mauritius or the conference Loveless just talked about, I would appreciate if you would sign up for the community Mauritius, just to have you informed. Just edit the QR code on this slide. Here you find the webpage of the community Mauritius, having some details on what's happening there. And here you also have the opportunity to sign up for this community. We will not spam you with all and everything, but we will keep you in touch if something is happening in your area and that might be of interest of you. So let me go one step further. So as mentioned, I would like to give you a short overview of this product that has been developed by our special interest group, AI4RE. Just that you have an idea what's the rationale behind and what's the idea of this product. So what is AI4RE? In general, AI4RE was the idea with the special interest group that was founded more or less 12 months ago, where we have talked about how AI could support the requirements engineering process. This means the daily work of a requirements engineer in elicitation, documentation, other parts of his work. But also there was also a subgroup that were discussing on how requirements engineering work or skills may need to be adopted when designing systems considering AI, or that are including AI in this area. Both things, in my perspective, are possible and are important today. In the syllabus, we focus on how AI could be supporting the requirements engineer in his daily work. And I think this is also giving us some powerful tool and some great insights how to be more efficient in the next days. And I think this is something that is really required when looking to the outside and all other domains where we could get some additional skills on this. And I think what must be clear in this area that still we as requirements engineers and as a human in the middle between, or as a human in the loop, we need to take care that the results that are created by AI are correct, and that we are have a kind of validation, and that we are still responsible for things that are doing. I mean, when looking to AI, for sure, we could easily create code specifications and all this stuff in seconds, but we need to take care of that these products, doesn't matter if this is our applications or specifications, that they are still right and that they fulfill our needs and that they are sustainable in the future. Having said that, so who is the goal? What is the goal? What's the target group for this product? When looking to AI4RE, this is aimed in general for everyone who's involved in requirements engineering activities. And here it doesn't matter if you call yourself requirements engineer, product owner, business analyst, demand manager, maybe sometimes also kind of project manager or project people who are in this area. And here I think anyone who has to deal with requirements for these product or this kind of certification or education might be interesting. Having a short look what this micro-credential is covering. So this micro-credential, as the name is already saying, is not a full-fledged certification that we have, for instance, with the foundation level or the practitioner levels that we're having. It's more focusing on a streamlined path for a one-day prep course when talking into preparation courses. And so we have created a study guide covering the 6 educational units. First one is about AI basics, means AI is more than just ChatGPT or a chat we are talking about, is also covering like how these images are created and all these different aspects that need to be considered when talking about AI is way more than these chatbots. Then we are talking about large language models, what needs to be considered, what's the difference or how to set up a rack, what's the topics that need to be considered with hallucinating of the AI. This is part of Education Unit 2. Then Education Unit 3 is really focusing on how to create prompts. This means what is the context that need to be considered? What is maybe a role that should be considered, even if there is still some discussion or already some discussion if roles are still needed. But I think at least context is needed and a kind of structure is needed for a prompt that we create a proper output, that we also let the machine know what is the desired output. For me, this is always like talking to a junior in requirements engineering. Also for them, they need a kind of context, they need a clear guidance on what is the desired output, and that's what needs to be done here as well. The next part, EU4, is about risks and responsibilities, and this is, as mentioned in the very beginning, this is really the part where we talk about GDPR or the AI Act, where we talk about data privacy and all these topics, but also about that you, as the requirements engineer in between, this means the human in the loop, that you have the responsibility to validate these results and to validate if the output is feasible and this could be used for your daily work. Then the biggest part of this study guide is talking about the use cases in requirements engineering. It's for eliciting requirements, it's for documenting requirements, it's especially for validating, also here from the human perspective, and also a bit about management of requirements. This means here you directly see it's not really necessary to have this kind of foundation level in CPRE, but it's at least somehow profitable for you if you have some basic knowledge about the core activities in requirements engineering, because these use cases are referencing to these core activities. And this is a bit one section about the terminology, EU6. Usually, when you know our CPRE products, we have an own glossary. Here we decided to have the terms that are important for this context, includes this directly in this study guide. And this section is more about the important terms that need to be considered during studying of this topic. Good. That's a broad overview of the content. We can dig a bit more into detail in the Q&A, and I think also Michael, Simon, and Franz will give some insights when they are talking about how AI could support the requirements engineering work. Giving you a short overview of how this is aligned with our product portfolio. Maybe some of you already know our CPRE certification program is structured in 4 levels. We have the CPRE Foundation, Practitioner, Specialist, and then the final Yoda CPRE, what is the CPRE Expert. And just aside, we have our new product portfolio like Micro-Credentials. AI4RE is the first one in this slot of Micro-Credentials. Probably there will be more within the next years. And the idea is with Micro-Credentials having this smaller, nudgeable snacks of learning topics that are related to RE, for instance, in the area of artificial intelligence. There is no prerequisite for this topic, and I think this is useful. Doesn't matter if you're a CPRE Foundation or if you're a CPRE Expert, this content is useful for all of them. In the very end, if you pass the examination, if you come to Loveless and to MSTQB going for an exam, then in the end you will get a kind of proof of your competence. This is a personal digital badge in this for this Micro-Credential. And as AI is developing dramatically fast, we have decided that this badge will have a validity of 3 years. I think this is still fair from the point of perspective of the ones who are doing the certification or the exam, and also keeping track of the changes in AI. That's all from my side, and I'm as already mentioned, I'm super happy to have Michael, Franz, and Simon within this call. And the idea is that Franz will show up with the first presentation or a short pitch on his topic. I hope Franz is audible and we can see Franz's slides. Let's give it a try.
Hello everybody. Can you hear me? Is the sound still okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, perfect. Welcome from my side to this call. My name is Franz. I'm a requirements engineer at a larger company. I'm doing internal requirements engineering, so I'm actually working with a lot of projects and a high number of requirements themselves. And that's why I want to show you a very specific use case of AI that helped me in my daily work. And this is just one of the possible use cases that AI can offer or is offering as of today. And of course, as Dan mentioned, it is evolving very rapidly, so maybe new use cases may come up every single day. I already mentioned that I had a high number of requirements with very different projects. In some projects I was part of the project team, but I wasn't part, of course, of all the hundreds of projects. And it got me thinking that maybe AI can help me analyze all of those requirements. And I think 99% of the requirements were written in text form. So my goal was to find out if it is possible to see requirements as more than text. And after doing some research, what was possible, I came up with a pipeline where I wanted to process all the textual requirements. I started with extracting the requirements from the projects and have them in a unified data format. Then I did some pre-processing. I removed some words. This is standard natural language processing, which isn't really connected to AI yet. But the third step, shown here with the OpenAI logo, this was where AI came in. And I was using a large language model in a different kind of way. I wasn't using it as a chatbot, but I was using it to convert text into numbers. And it's much easier to do calculations, comparisons, and analysis once you have numbers than with different words. After I got the numbers, I will show you in a second how I did this. I did some analysis on the numbers, and at the end of the day, I was using the large language model again, but this time in the most common use case by talking to it. I converted text into numbers by creating embeddings. Large language models, they don't think in words or in text, they think in numbers. So they have to convert text and sentences and words into numbers, and they are connected. You can think about it as banana and apple are two fruits. A table is not a fruit. If you convert those three words into numbers or coordinates or different vectors, their apple and banana are gonna be close to each other, whereas table, which has absolutely nothing to do with fruit, is gonna be a very different number. And I was using this concept in trying to find duplicate or similar requirements in different projects. So at the end of the day, I had the suspicion that project teams weren't talking to each other. So they did the work twice, 3 times. They wrote similar requirements, and they had some redundancies. And if my suspicion was correct, we could focus teams and save resources, time, and money. And after doing some number magic, I came up with a 3D plot. And as you can see here, the 2 colors, they represent 2 different projects. They weren't talking to each other, they were doing their own thing, they were developing a project. And as you can see, the dots are somewhat similar. I had no idea what kind of project these were because I number coded them, so I wasn't biased while analyzing. And once I looked up which project those were, they were in the same product family. So they were developing similar products, but they were writing basically requirements twice or 3 times. After I had my suspicion confirmed, I analyzed all the requirements they were, and I color coded them not by project, but I did some clustering with some Python magic, and I ended up with 11 clusters. This means I had 11 categories of requirements regardless of the project. They were, of course, they were large clusters with hundreds and sometimes more than 1,000 requirements. So they were kind of hard to generalize. But what I did in the last step was that I randomly picked the parameters, and moving to the next slide works now, I hope. I selected randomly requirements from the individual clusters. And I fed those requirements with a custom prompt. Now that's the last slide. Yes, this one. I fed the requirements with a custom prompt in the large language model, and in summary asked it, please categorize or identify the cluster where those requirements came from. And as you can see, those three were some examples of the results, and they are actually meaningful. So basically what I triggered, or what I'm still trying to do, is to get or to create generic requirements for the whole company, where, for example, error logging and performance monitoring is defined on a global scale, independent of the product that is developed. And this wouldn't be possible without AI, because I cannot have a requirements engineer look through more than 5,000 requirements and try to figure out which ones are similar and which ones aren't. So this was one of the very, very specific use cases that where AI not just helped me or made me faster, but actually opened up new ways of dealing with requirements. So I hope I could open your mind a little bit with this use case, that sometimes requirements are actually just more than text, and AI can help us in very different ways than just opening a ChatGPT window and talking to it. If you have any questions or need further clarifications or want to have further technical details, unfortunately I won't be able to make it to the Q&A, but I think maybe Stan can collect questions and forward them to me, and I would be very, very happy to answer them in all length and detail.
Of course. So thanks a lot to Franz, and so as mentioned by him, if you have any questions, just use the chat, and I will forward these questions to Franz afterwards, and we can answer this. That doesn't matter if you join on LinkedIn or on YouTube in the next days. And if there is anything else, you can also drop me a mail, and I will forward this to Franz. Great. So we're having now two other participants of our special interest groups. It's Michael and Simon. I think Simon would be the next one, also introducing how artificial intelligence could be used to create user stories. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tool-based, giving some input, and also kind of supporting the work of the daily work of writing things down, bringing it in a clear structure, and having, let's say, things done. But for sure, I mean, also here we will see that still there's a man in the loop who needs to do some validation, and also to really agree on these proposed changes or proposed user stories. Simon, it's your stage.
Thanks. So I will start sharing. So what I would like to show you is our current stage of Storywise, where we are actively trying what can we do to make our life easier using AI. I'm just giving you some short examples. So if we were starting in a very in a greenfield project, so everything is easier, I know, but it also kind of works for others. Like we want to create, like, I don't know, like a registration, a platform for this IREB community, and we'll say, okay, we have an epic that is called registration users, and then we can say stuff with this will be about login with mail and stuff, and just let it recommend it. So like that would be stage one, where you could just get some basic integration where you can let the AI rephrase stuff for you. But the thing is, that's quite nice. But we're in our beta with our AI assistant, which is really nice. Because now I can say, create 2 more epics. One is registration for administrators, and then make another epic for people who want to show their stuff, so they can pitch their products for people and pitch their talks, so people can choose the talks which will be presented. For the last 2 things, also create some user stories for it, please. So that was quite long, and that is like it should still work, but there is still some work to do for the LLM to always understand this. So the problem is not anymore in the transcription, because transcription is something that increased dramatically in the last few, let's say months, because like there has been another jump with Voxtral by Mistral. That's a European AI company that really increased how well, at least like European languages, including English, are understand. But well, we're lucky, everything worked out quite well. I will get a new epic with registration for administrators, and another one for the pitching products and talk section. He will give us another entity, because we're gonna use administrators, presenters, and attendees. That's very nice. And we'll get in epic 3, we will get a new story. So if you want to listen here, I want to pitch my product, I want to present to pitch a talk idea, and I want to browse the pitch talks as an attendee so that I can decide what I want. Perfect. And want to vote for the talks. So that's the way I can create stuff that is really nice. I will have it here in a good structure, so I see like who wants to do what. I have my entities here, and I can tell it more stuff. So I could now give it like, on user story 4, for the description, please write that we want to have a list of the products and talks that people want to pitch. Make sure to link them in the description to the stories where the people can add their products and talks. And write that it's going to be a list with upvote and downvote buttons, and where the title should be, and maybe a short thumbnail of like the first slide that they want to present. And I will get my description. And like one of the things I'm particularly that are particularly important for me is that the AI does nothing without a human explicitly allowing or accepting it. So I can now, I will see what he wants to change. He wants to have this description here. He wants to link it with those 2 user stories. I can accept this and see like what is in there. And now I have it in a form that's structured and linked, and I can see like that and can jump around. If I want, maybe for a short finish, create some user like acceptance criteria. Let's use this button for now, where I will again get ideas and stuff, but the last thing is always at the user. So the user has to decide what I want to add. Like I want to list entry that displays the title. If a thumbnail is available, I want to display it, and attendee and cast at most 1 vote. That is very good. And changing a vote updates it. Perfect. I want to have this. And maybe for this acceptance criteria, I also wanted to give me a Gherkin scenario where I can add stuff. And the thing is, like, this gives you a lot of speed, but the thing is, it dramatically speeds up my work, but only like, I would say like maximum 5 to 10% of my work actually. So like I'm at least double as fast with this tool, but the most important work is still to talk to the people, to see what they really want, to see if what I'm writing down is the right thing and not just what any AI tells you to. So that's the main message I want to keep you from all of this, is that the communication and the understanding of the system is absolutely key, and the AI can just help us to document it faster. Yeah, that's it.
Great. Thank you, Simon. I think this was quite impressive in my point of view. Especially what you also mentioned is what's super important is the validation aspect, because for sure one could say, okay, now you just need to talk to the machine and everything is created. Then press whatever, execute and deploy. And the machine will then easily, for sure, create some kind of code and will also deploy it. But I think what's super important in between here, you could create super fast garbage in this way. But that's why the human in between is still super important. And I think there is a shift that the requirements engineering work, in my perspective, is getting more and more important, because you need to be careful and you need to really think of what are the goals, what are the problems that need to be solved, what is the expectation from the different stakeholders. And the tool, as you have shown, I think it's super great that this could support all this stuff. And but this makes the work as a requirements engineer even more important in my perception. Great. Coming to you, Michael. Now we can't hear you. No, not yet.
Better now? Can you
Yes.
hear me? Okay, super fantastic. I was just, looks like I was on the wrong device. Thank you, Stan. Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be part of this Mauritius community event. Also, thanks for having us. By the way, I've just for preparation for today's session, I've been browsing through your digital transformation blueprint, and I find that really fascinating. You know, how driven this has been established in your country, especially also with a focus on digital literacy and also data governance and AI. So I mean, I think this is like a perfect blend in also from today's topic. I'm Michael. I'm from Obvious Works, and I wear several hats. One, of course, I'm also co-author, together with Simon, Franz, and a few others, of the study guide. And I think there, you named it already. For us, it was very important that we are that we have the human in the loop, and that we always check our results. And this is not just like an empty phrase; we really mean it. Because even nowadays, the models get smarter and smarter, but still, they might write in a very elegant way, but they are completely wrong at some point. And so we have to be super careful, and we have to respect that. And yeah, thanks for Franz and Simon's presentation also. Simon, I like your voice input and the transcription. This is something that I started using like a concept. I'm using a different app, and it works in on every application on my computer, to just talk to my laptop, and it's so much faster. I'm fast in typing, but talking is so much better. And because we want to provide a lot of context, we have to provide a lot of context to the AI. It makes total sense, because then you start talking and provide more context. My background is software development and also business analysis / requirements engineer. I'm a practitioner. I'm working in the field with organizations, helping them to get clearer on their requirements. I'm also doing the traditional IREB trainings myself with a few other trainers, and then also I've been running the groundwork of AI4RE, a training specialized on the intersection of AI and RE for a little bit more than a year, I would say. by the way, I loved your slide, the nutshell slide, where you put this requirements engineering, dev, and QA all together to achieve better quality. And I think that also makes total sense. We also cover agentic coding boot camps for software developers, and what we see is like people produce 100 times more code or lines of code, but we also need measures in place. First of all, to know what we want to build, the proper thing, that's the requirements engineering, and then the QA to cover all this new complexity that we can generate with a few words and a few prompts. Okay, all right. Having said that, let me share my screen. I hope you are able to see my browser window. Yeah, okay, that seems like it's working. I haven't prepared specific slides, but I'll just quickly show you a little bit of the practice lab of the groundwork that we've done on on these trainings and concepts. Talking to a lot of people, collecting use cases, and thoroughly working through and improving them bit by bit. These are my contact details, just in case. Feel free to reach out anytime if you have any questions. But having said that, so what I wanted to cover is in the area of documentation, visualization of diagrams. So often it can help to not just write requirements in textual format, but also do visualization of the same. Now with the models, with the image models that are integrated in nowadays platforms, well, they're good in creating photorealistic pictures and everything, but they are not so good in creating diagrams, which have to be more precise. So what we do, and this is just like an exercise from the training, so we have a change management process described here in the lower section, and then there's many ways that we play around and also teach people how you can visualize that. Because image models cannot generate like images directly or diagrams. There's an intermediate step where you can just, for example, use plant UML, which is a description language to describe UML diagrams. And we put that into the AI. We get something like this. This is plant UML syntax. And if I put that into a tool like plant UML, and you can see here, this is a free tool. If I put that syntax that came out from the AI into this tool, what I have is an activity diagram. So that's how we started a long time ago. But the problem is with this approach, we cannot modify the diagram which has been generated. Well, we can either change the plant UML code or discuss that with the AI. But it's not as, say, interactive or useful as we thought. Going further, we could also do the same in Mermaid. Mermaid is another language, but that's more for mind maps, where we get another visual representation, which might look like this. Mermaid has got platforms where we can edit the diagrams that have been created, and then there's different other approaches. And because I want to be quick in time, I'll show you one of the more advanced approaches is by using BPMN. The business process modeling notation is something that we see in many organizations as an established standard to basically visualize and document the business processes. Now, if we use the same process and we tell the AI actually to write an XML file according to specifications here, how the XML file should be structured, this can then be imported into a tool. We're using free tools here for demonstration, the bpmn.io platform. And when I import this XML, which has been created by AI, when I import that into a tool, I get something like this. So we have a BPMN diagram which looks a bit off, but actually that doesn't matter so much, because anyway, we want to go through and validate, does it make sense or make the necessary changes. So as another step, what you can do with this diagram, you load it, you invest 2 to 3 more minutes to kind of just, make it in a nice way. And then also by doing that, you visualize, but you're way faster than if you had to do that from scratch on a plain piece of paper or on a plain view file. So I think that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to show you. There's many more, but I thought just I'll quickly show you something which is practical how we apply AI in requirements engineering. So I'm coming back to here, and I stop sharing. So, all right. Good. That's all from my side.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. Maybe just motivating the participants to use the chat. So if you have any questions meanwhile, or any comments, please just use the chat and drop your note. I will see then the chat or with the messages that are coming in, and we are trying to answer your questions. Maybe meanwhile we are waiting, I just do some kind of promotion, because what you have maybe seen, it's a bit small. Can I show this somewhere else? We have a kind of prompt guide that's also part of the working group is working on continuously, and this prompt guide is growing. I will maybe just share my screen that you can see this. Okay, so, and here we are. There's a prompt guide. It's a Confluence page, and there also part of the working group is currently working on especially how to create prompts for requirements elicitation, for documentation, because what just popped up in my head, Michael, if you were talking about creating models, and this is this kind of, let's say, translation work, what's in here. This means generate a model from text, generate text from model, and all this stuff. And there, I think here AI is super powerful, and at least way more powerful than we mostly are, at least when we're looking to the time consumption. And this is really a benefit of all these nasty tasks and let's say clicking things in there. And this is really, really helpful in my perception. And in this prompt guide, as mentioned, we have for elicitation, so this means for identifying stakeholders, preparing interviews, planning a workshop, refining a transcription, identifying requirements, documentation from, let's say, formulation of text-based translation to different kind of models, whatever. And as you see here below, coming soon, also for requirements validation and requirements management. So the team is continuously working on this part. And if you're interested, just visit this website, or just put here the, just put it above me, the QR code, and then you can navigate to the website. I think it's quite interesting to scroll through. It's really accessible, so it means everyone is able to use it. Great. So just hiding this again and stop sharing and see if there is something coming up. Meanwhile, not yet. But doesn't matter. I think let's maybe have a kind of discussion, especially with respect to the AR4RE micro-credential. I mean, Michael, you and Simon, you as well, you have been part of the special interest group creating this study guide. And let's say we're looking to especially the RE use cases, or maybe also the part of risks and responsibilities EU4. What would you say? What is the most important thing for us in requirements engineering that needs to be considered in our daily work in using AI?
I'm sorry, my camera was twice muted by my cat. That's right.
Yeah.
Just to get to the point, I think communication is absolutely key, and to make people clear what they'll get, because on the first things we created, also before Storywise, I was really keen to really write down everything they will get. The customer will see what he gets, and there will be no misunderstandings. But the problem is, as soon as the text reaches a certain size, people can't just consume it anymore. So you'll really have to be careful to mix all your options, to add diagrams if you have them. Diagrams are wonderful for understanding, to have a common understanding of processes. And I think still one of the most important things are mockups, especially for less technical people.
Yeah,
good thing. Michael,
I would join into what Simon just said, like have some forms of visualizations, which is more tangible, especially for non-technical people to grasp. But not just that, like, and you run them through, for example, through a mock-up, you might be able to derive more requirements and more, needs which are otherwise hidden. The only thing which is crucial in my experience is like to set the expectations right. So no one expects that, oh yeah, the application is done 90%. So you polish a bit and then you get it. Hey, this is just a mock-up. But that's, I think that's very key. Also writing down not just what they will get, but also what they will not get very clearly.
Yeah.
And if there is a concern that this could cause a longer conversation, then it is a very fruitful conversation to have in the beginning.
Absolutely. Any remarks or questions from your side, Lavlesh or Nemala?
Just one maybe comment from my side. What I've seen as well in the industry, we are getting more and more, let's say, dependent on the AI tools in our daily job. And some of my colleagues working as product owners and BA are getting back to basics. They try to use techniques like paraphrasing and so on, even with the AI. So when they get a prompt, they try to understand first, they explain to someone else, and then that other person paraphrase it. So it's quite fascinating to see how the human element in this pipeline of quality is quite essential still to really come up with the real output that the client expects. So taking the human out in the loop definitely is not something I can see as of now, but using the techniques that was the basics really of requirement engineering, like paraphrasing and so on, trying to find defects in the requirement, contradiction, omission, ambiguities, because one of the item that, or one of the I won't say feature, but one of the characteristics of an AI model is also the hallucination. Sometimes we tend to go along with the hallucination, and given that we are relying a lot on those models, it becomes a bit harder then to really decipher or differentiate between the hallucination part and the real content that is useful for us. So yeah, with discussion with some of my colleagues and peers in the industry, I see that they are applying those techniques of paraphrasing to really fight the hallucination part of requirement engineering that is generated by AI. Maybe Nyamala, you can as well share your point of view on this topic.
Actually, I was talking to some of the peers at 𝗥𝗲𝗾𝗂𝗵 yesterday, and they were telling me how hard it is to design mockups, and they are using AI to do the design of mockups, which is really interesting. But one of the fears we have, especially at 𝗥𝗲𝗾, which is a finance company, is about data breach and data going on the internet. So I think that's something we really need to think about. I think if you are training a model in the company, it's okay. But if you're using online models and online AI, you have to be a bit careful on the data you're sharing with the AI. But it's very interesting to see how people are using AI for mockups. For what Simon showed us was really interesting as well. So and I really appreciated you saying it helps you speed up your work, but it's only about 5% of what you do. I think that's something encouraging for people, because they're afraid AI is going to take their jobs. It is something that will help us, definitely, but not taking our jobs, because the human touch is still required right now. Maybe in the future, but right now it's still required.
Yeah, I also think so, because when I talked about requirements engineering, even let's say 3 years ago and something like this, for me, requirements engineering was always 80% or 85% people work. So this means you need to talk to your customers, you need to understand their needs, you need to understand their pains, but you also need to understand their fears. And this still needs to be done. And I mean, what is supported by AI is mostly the work of this 15% maybe, or 10%. What's a bit nasty, writing these clear sentences of requirements, checking this kind of, is there some, let's say, conflict within requirements in this whatever 300 pages of requirements that have been written, doing this kind of, let's say, quality checks. I mean, all necessary to do to have finally a good specification that's feasible for a great software architecture for development, and also for the testers to create appropriate test cases. But still, I think this part of people work, talking to business, but also talking to the let's say IT guys, like software architects, operating guys who need to operate this new application, testing people who need to set up the testing environment, who need to create test cases. And still, I mean, doesn't matter who is creating these user stories, they need to be understood and they need to be discussed with these different stakeholders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a question?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. We'll take the question.
No, I was just saying what springs to mind immediately is the Agile Manifesto again, like humans and interactions over tools and processes, and AI is another tool. So it should not, lift us away from human interaction. No, actually, it's great that we can get some of the work delegated, which is the groundwork, and then we can even focus more on the human interaction.
Yeah,
I think the question is around this line. So it says, story-wise, it's really interesting. I have a question though. From the human side, what are the processes that AI cannot replace when it comes to requirements gathering and when initiating a project?
I think like gathering of context and real human needs is something that definitely human. So like you can give someone a recorder and tell him to talk everything into it, and there's even like there have been research where people talk to an AI bot and he also tried to get what they really want. But the thing is, with some experience, you can help people to get a better solutions of what they have in their mind. Because people usually like know, I know Excel, and that's gonna be a really like the same, and then you can show them that there is a far easier solution, or a solution that will even help them better than what they had in mind. And I mean, like that's already like requirements engineering going into solution engineering, but you can help them by asking the right questions and seeing what they really need, because it's called requirements engineering and it's not called requirements transcribing. Yeah, so I would see that's the answer to that.
Great, thank you.
Maybe that there was a white paper I did read, and that could be relevant to the scenario here. Is when someone tried an experiment to really write user stories, and then another AI in parallel to check the user stories that were written by the first AI. So everything was going on well to a certain point in time, until the first started hallucinating. The second one captured some contradiction. We're learning from those contradictions, and the second one started hallucinating as well. And then what we got at the end of the pipeline was just garbage. So that was a clear example of DIGO, garbage in, garbage out. At a certain point in time where you have this control of the confidence level of the model, and also the hallucination control by the human intervention. It ensures that the model is really going towards the end goal and what is expected from it. Without this human intervention, there will be hallucination from both models that are trying to control each other, and in the end we just get something which is completely different from our expectation. that was an interesting white paper that was published a few months back.
Okay.
But still relevant.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Great. Looking to the time. Unfortunately, the time is already over. 1 hour is gone, so it's going quite fast. Maybe from my side, thanks a lot for being here. And a special thank you to Michael, to Simon, and also to Franz, who needed to leave. I really thank you for your insights in this topic. And as mentioned in the very beginning, I would love that people who are here join the community Mauritius, and then back to you, Lavlesh.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you to our experts, Simon, Franz, Michael, for sharing your knowledge with our community. I'm convinced that it is useful information for the community, and for sure. Now, to the community, if ever you want to connect with us as well, so on our social media channel, and also if ever you are interested with the IREB exam, or you want to learn more about the IREB, all the information as well are available on our website, which is mstq.com. Feel free to reach out to us on email on info@mstq.com, and we'll be glad to assist you. Thank you for joining us this evening for this session, and thank you again for this fruitful and helpful topic for the Mauritian community.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.